Hi, I'm Samite. I was born and raised in Uganda. I'm a musician, I'm a photographer, I'm also a woodworker. I also believe in peace. The American Folklife Center at the Library of Congress has invited me to perform in their 2021 Homegrown at Home concert series. So instead of me being in Washington, D.C., I'm coming to you today from Tally, New York. That's where I reside with my wife Sandra and our two horses, Shadow and Time. The American Folklife Center will release a concert every other Wednesday from now on through September 22nd at noon East Coast US time. And each artist will be there with you in the chat section to answer questions. So be sure to say hi. After each concert is released, you can continue to find the video on the library's website or YouTube channel. When I was a little kid, my mother was a teacher in Lubiri Primary School, which was in the King's Palace. I was a little boy, and I just remember most of my music was formed actually from going to the King's Palace in that primary school in the King's Palace. The king always had musicians playing there every day. And I just remember as a little boy just being pulled towards the drums. They used to play this. And then other musicians would come. It was just like something I always look forward to, hearing every single day. There are many beautiful memories, going back in that King's Palace. I just remember going on long trips and would sing these beautiful songs like Tugenze, Tugenze, Tualikao, Tugenzo Wutada, Tualikao. That we're going and we won't come back. Beautiful, beautiful memories. But the music that I had on a daily basis really formed what I do. I think one day I'm going to tell stories actually about my experience in the King's Palace. One day, my mother left me home because I wasn't feeling well. But then during the day, she forgot that she had left me home. So she screamed and said, "My son has fallen in the pit latrine." So she had all these firemen, all these people diving into the pit latrine looking for me. And they couldn't find me. And then she remembered she had left me home. She didn't make friends that day. I think they were really mad at her. But I think they understood a mother, looking for her son. Later on in my life, I became a refugee. Uganda, at that time, things were really bad. Idi Amin had taken over. And then after Idi Amin, some other crazy people. And I became a refugee in Kenya. And one day I was driving, after I left the refugee camp and I was given a permit to work in Nairobi, I was driving a friend's car. And I saw this old man walking on the street. He didn't really look like he belonged on the street. He was holding an instrument like this one. But there was something about him that I knew I had to become his friend. I stopped the car in the middle of the street and I ran towards the old guy and I said, "Sir, can you please come into my car? Come on, I want to take you home." And he said, "Why?" I said, "I just want to become your friend." And he refused. So I decided to pull him because the desire to meet him was overwhelming. And when I tried to pull him, he really got scared. He pulled away. So I said, maybe if I push him, it'll work better. That really scared him. So I gave up and I went back and sat in the car. Then I said, try one more time. So I jumped out of the car and everybody's honking to try to get my car out of the way. And the old man saw me coming towards him. This time he tried to run away into the opposite direction, into traffic. That was really bad. So I screamed, I said, don't run, I'm a musician. And he said, why didn't you say that right away? So he jumped into the front seat of the car and I took him home, made him tea, and he played me a lot of songs and told me stories. I said, can I meet you again? I said, sure. I said, not on the street this time. So we identified a tree and I said, exactly in a month's time, I'll wait for you under this tree. And the old guy came, but he was holding two instruments, and this is one of them. It's called litungu, goat skin, fishing lines, and wood. He said, I brought you a gift. So he gave me this litungu, showed me how to tune it, and he went off again, disappeared. Later on, I came to the US. And I moved into this little town called Ithaca, New York. And everyone would tell me, you have to meet this professor at Ithaca. He would love to meet somebody. He's an ethnomusicologist. He would like to meet somebody who plays those, an instrument like the ones you have. Instruments like the ones you have. Played the kalimba, the litungu. So I met the professor eventually. And he came, hair going in every direction. I thought he was a little crazy at the time. And he took me into the basement and he was looking for a cassette. He looked everywhere on the floor. And he found it. He said, here it is. And he said, you're from East Africa, aren't you? And he plugged it in. It was this old man being interviewed way before I was born. I got very excited. And I knew there was something about this old guy. Something. We had a connection. Because the song I'm going to play on the litungu here is a song called Waterfall. It's the second song I ever wrote. And this song helped me when I was a refugee. I would just play this song and close my eyes and I'd feel like I was back in Uganda. I'd remember the lakes, the rivers, the red soil, and the people of Uganda, the warm, beautiful people. That's good enough. Okay, here we go. Bida 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 bida. Bida 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 bida. Oh 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 oh. Bida bida oh oh. That's the rhythm. That's the beautiful rivers. I've always wondered what kind of music people listen to, at least they hear when they arrive in heaven. Is it heavy rock, heavy metal, or is it like mellow music? I've always wondered how it is. But this is a song I named River Crossing, crossing over to the other side. When we are little kids, our mothers sing us these beautiful lullabies. Then they become old, and then it's our turn to sing them lullabies. This is my mama's lullaby. I believe it's our responsibility as musicians to bring, to bring light to the fact that when there's a war, it's the children that suffer. The children who should be laughing, who should be singing and playing with butterflies, they're taking cover. They're made to join in these wars, and it's it's something that we need to remember, and what it does to our children and what it does to everyone. This song is about that. It's about what happened in the Luero Triangle, where a lot of children lost their parents, and so the kids would just walk around following animals to be fed, to be protected. Um, so I'm gonna try to sing that song. It's called Bande Kao. They left me behind. lwaki wandekawo mange? Lwaki wandekawo kitange? Ensolo ne zintwala, ensolo ne zindiisa, lwaki wandekawo mange? Lwaki wandekawo mange? Lwaki wandekawo kitange? Abange babatta, ne muto bamutwala, mukulu bamutwala, ne muto bamutwala. Oh no. Lwaki wandekawo mange? Lwaki wandekawo kitange? Ensolo ne zintwala, enkobe ne zindiisa, abange babatta, mukulu bamutwala, ne muto bamutwala. Oh, yeah. Bannange, entalo zaaki? Bannange, entalo zaaki? Lwaki twetta bannange? Lwaki twetta bannange? Abange babatta, ne muto ne bamutwala, mukulu bamutwala, taata bamutwala. Oh. Piantia, pia bobo, 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 pia. Thank you for listening today. It's always a great pleasure for me to share my music with music lovers. And please don't forget to check out the American Folk Life Center website, where you can find lots of amazing sound recordings online to explore. www.loc.gov/folk life.